Assalamu alaikum. No, I will not leave myself outside the doors anymore. I reject neutrality. I dismantle my assimilated being. I invoke cognitive dissonance. I invite authentic discussion and the discomfort that comes from it. All in that simple greeting, Assalamu alaikum. Peace be with you. The room shakes. Some automatic whispers, Walaikum Assalam, barely reach my ears. Some heads nod, acknowledging the wild act of resistance my greeting really is. Some glances of utter amazement, not sure how to make sense of where they are, how I look, and what they just heard. And other faces offer me wide grins, celebrating the possibility of a different world. All in that simple greeting, Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you. Stated loudly, proudly, boldly, and knowingly in a room that expects me to be liberal, modern, secular. The system is revealed to me. In that simple greeting, the invisible tension is surfaced. In that simple greeting, while I offer an invocation of peace in a language that speaks through my heart, I risk my credibility, my image, my position of influence. That's the price for being allowed into the glass building. Years of schooling rigorously preparing me with surgical precision, severing my connection with my wholeness, poking holes in my worldview, shaking my visceral knowing of truth, telling me that the earth is full of resources to consume, not a gift of my makers to revere, that my human body is superior, only that which is visible is true, erasing the mystery and the wonder of my maker's creation, the grand cosmos beyond my small self, the invisible world of light and shadow, the delicate balance of elements, domination replaced interrelatedness, desire has consumed sacredness. My inherent knowing, superstitious, illogical, idealistic. My intuition, negated, tearing through my sense of self, telling me I need to strive to achieve because I must do, I must wear, I must consume, I must accumulate wealth, invest in the market, buy property, to feel happy, to be worthy. Not that my worth is inherent to my being. My humanity is reflected in my deeds, small and big. I will leave this earth with nothing, but my deeds will be judged. My true legacy is the people I impact. The real test is my capacity to live by my values, to pursue justice, to seek knowledge. My duty is manifest through my giving, rupturing my sense of time, pushing me to operate urgently, working overtime, telling me that hard work is the only way to survive, not allowing me to rest, making it inconvenient to pause just 5 times in the day, contradicting my knowing that my patience, my sabr, my prayers will carry me, my community will support me, my maker will hold me. But diligently, exactly, and unrelentingly, education erased my capacity to know me. It filled my being with noise, it raised my ego and gave it the steering wheel, robbing me of the joy of silence, the enigma of whirling, the fire of devotion, and perhaps most importantly, my conviction in haqq, in truth. Today, I am but an empty brown body, with no taste of the divine, no power to create love, no knowledge to awaken justness, subdued, diminished, invisibilized. So welcome and good morning and assalamu alaikum to you all once again. My name is Romana Shaikh. I am an able-bodied, heterosexual, cisgendered Indian Muslim woman. I'm the second generation of women in my family to have received an education, an English education. And it is that education that has made it possible for me to be here today, have this space, to be on this stage with you. And it's everything that happened before me, that my parents, my grandparents, and their grandparents have done, many whose lives I don't know. So as I offer some words and some more invocations, I'd like to invite you as well to just take this moment to pause. Just acknowledge all of the identities you might be sitting with in this room, the ones you want to see, the ones you don't want to see. And also acknowledging all those that have come before you. Our ancestors always here, always with us. So just taking a moment to acknowledge everything that has made it possible for our lives to unfold. And as we do that, so taking a moment to really just allow your body to sink into this seat. Just letting a poem I offered you settle as it might. And just taking a moment to honestly just be grateful for being alive. At a time when life cannot be taken for granted, we are here. We're held by the earth beneath us. And so taking a moment to also connect with our land. Just allowing the body to receive that support, receive that holding. And finally, inviting a moment of silence for all the children that are born into harm and injustice every day, that may not live to see tomorrow. So just offering a moment of prayer in whatever way you might, to invite into this room with us children, that next generation that's yet to come. And just landing in this middle space that we have today. As young people and adults, there's everything that our ancestors have lived before us. And there's the life that we would want to create for the next generation, a life of self-determination, of justice. And we are here, right? We're in this middle spot, wondering what do we do with this mess that we're living through. So just welcoming that. And just checking in with yourself and offering that prayer. That prayer that we may have the courage to do what needs to be done, so we may experience a world of love and justice. So over my years as an educator, I thought I've always worked with children growing up in poverty and marginalization, and I always thought that the problem was one of access. If we find a way to let every child access a good education, it was about accommodations. Okay, let's give extra classes. Let's add a few more of this. Let's add a few more of that. And then let's give more to those that have less. And maybe that's what will work. Right? Then every child can have that day. But took a while, but then I began to realize that for some bodies that don't belong to dominant identities, inclusion is always conditional. It is about you becoming everything but who you are. And even then, it has an expiry date. So inclusion for me has been conditional on not being Muslim, on not looking like a Muslim, on assimilating into an upper class culture of South Bombay, of taking my convent education and letting that hide everything that was underneath that. And even then, that ran out in 2014. No matter how much I didn't look like a Muslim anymore, it didn't matter. Sheikh was still relevant, suddenly relevant. And so then when we look at education, we realize it's actually a tool of slow death. It's slowly, very diligently chipping away at everything that our wholeness really is. It's constantly adding masks, so many masks that we can't find ourselves anymore. And I think the mistake I made was thinking that that was a mistake, that we got it wrong. But the truth is that education has been constructed for this very purpose, for erasure, for domination. It has been constructed like that. So it has been about me replacing my Muslimness, my womanness, and becoming as white as I possibly can, or becoming as upper caste Hindu as I possibly can. And only then, maybe then I can fit in. So it creates this illusion, not only by keeping certain bodies out of the room, but also through what it transmits as belief, as truth, as fact. So I'd like to offer us 3 inquiries that can help us just look at our own lives, because we've all probably experienced a colonized education sitting in this room, and it intersects with our own sense of truth, with our own identities. So as I offer you what that has meant for me from my identities, these questions are really an invitation to look at it in light of the world we're living in today. So when we sit and watch, for example, the genocide ongoing in Palestine, in Congo, in Sudan, or when we look at all of the oppression that happens at home, baseless policies against trans bodies, we think that it's an incident of today. But what we need to reckon with is we didn't see it coming. What we need to reckon with is there's a part of us that has been conditioned to agree with it. That's what education has been designed to do, to teach us certain ways of seeing the world, certain versions of history, so it obscures truth. We don't know anymore. Is that actually okay, what's happening? Is it justified somehow? Yeah, maybe the medical board is the right answer. It's so confusing because slowly education has taken away our ability to just know what we know in our bodies. For all of us to have our own ways of knowing and believing. And so it's up to us then to say, how do we return to our wholeness? How do we find our truth again? Knowing that there are multiple truths. So 3 questions that I discuss in my book as well, in this parallel process of deconstruction and reconstruction. What we've been doing in education for too long has been adding things. So we've added social emotional learning. We've added well-being. We've added citizenship as a priority, entrepreneurship as a priority. So it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. What we didn't do is say, okay, is the basis okay? We never stopped to dismantle education, to say, okay, who decided that writing and reading and marks is the only definition of success? So now even well-being depends on that. Depends on how many marks you get and how well you're able to self-regulate your body. So deconstruction is that invitation to first rip it apart, gently, but really honestly. And then we reconstruct. Then we say, okay, what's possible for who and by whom. So the first question is, who is the other? When you think of who were you exposed to through education, what stories did you read? What literature did you consume? Did you learn about the partition of India or only the independence? Right? Did you read Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar in school, or did you have to go hunt for it? Did you know there was a writer called Bell Hooks and Edward Said, or was that left out of the school syllabus? So whoever was left out was intentional. So that's my first invitation. Can we find out whose story we have not heard of from their own body, from their own land? And can that give us a way to rehumanize the bodies we don't do anymore? The second is, what is knowledge? So today, knowledge is the right answer written down, the right answer reproducible, measurable, verifiable. But prayer, dance, humming, the haldi doodh that my mom gives me, I will only do that after Harvard publishes a study and says, yes, prayer and chanting has a positive effect on mental health. My mom knew that. I'm sure your parents knew that. Our cultures had ways of connecting, not only with each other. They had ways of grieving. They had ways of understanding the invisible world, seasons, time. But none of that is allowed to be knowledge anymore. So take a moment to think about, okay, what was something I was taught at home? What was something I had to go and hunt again from my grandparents, from my land, from my culture, from my scriptures? And how did schooling negate it? How did schooling tell me that that was wrong? That the invisible world doesn't exist? That seasons are always predicted? That the new year is actually the 31st of December? It's got nothing to do with the end of winter and the start of spring. That's just stuff. Right? So what is knowledge? Who decided which knowledge was truth? And where can you feel that tension in your belly that, oh, actually, I know something different. But my teacher will tell me I'm wrong if I tell her. But Harvard might tell you you're right, so keep trying. And the final one, why are we here? So for this one, I'd like to offer a reading from the book. And as I do that, I'd invite you, if you feel comfortable, to close your eyes, or you can even look away, and really see if we can explore a new possibility of our relationship to the planet. If we were not to be the man, and I say man intentionally, on top of the pyramid, what could we be? So when we commit to love and justice, we commit to a world of collective liberation. A world where we can see each other and celebrate each other just as we are. A world where we respect and revere our lands and all that nature has to offer. A world where we serve our planet and humanity for generations to come. It is this world that education needs to prepare us to create. Mindfully, intentionally, urgently and slowly, a world that promises a thriving life for every child. For every child to thrive, a thriving life for every child is necessary. A thriving life where child and surroundings thrive. Every child and every adult thrives. The institutions that humans have created and the natural world that humans are connected to, we all thrive. When all beings thrive, we will know We have an education that has been built on love and justice. One where each life is sacred and each day is celebrated. One where there is space for all that is different and diverse to be held. One that is born from our wholeness and serves to cultivate and nourish our wholeness. One that is born through personal movements of love and justice that ripple across space and time to move entire systems towards love and justice. And so just allowing this vision, this possibility of a new world of love and justice to arise in your mind, in your heart. And when you would have come in, there was a sheet of paper and a crayon on your seat. So as a way of just allowing your body mind to bring a little bit of closure to what we've opened up, before you come back to the group, I would invite you to take a few moments, maybe even just a minute, to just let your hand onto that paper and see if there's something that comes out of that. It could just be a shape, a color, a word, an image. But what does this feeling of love and justice, this world where we all thrive, what might that evoke for us? So just taking a few seconds, just allowing that hand and color to do what it might. And it's okay if it doesn't make sense, just letting your body know you can come back to this exploration. And with that, just invite you to continue to explore this idea, and we can open the floor for reflections, questions, whatever is there for you after that.